Okay, today I'm going to go off script with this week's Dadnamics release. Normally I do some kind of a crazy dad video where it's me, voila, doing something silly. And maybe it's me being very serious and answering questions. Today's something that happened with my oldest son and my daughter. And I was able to share a leadership lesson with my son that I really think will benefit you guys out there. So don't ignore this. Listen to this. And here's the question. Here's the question Ken asked to you guys. Have you ever had any of your kids with a selfish vein of competition towards their siblings? No, not us. Our kids are always lovey-dovey. They're best friends. Okay, now for the 99% of you that are lying and the 1% that said yes, if you've got multiple kids and they're somewhere around the same age, you're probably experiencing this. And they're very competitive. We're doing currently the Wiffle Ball World Series, year 7. My second son Colby's now 6, so he's old enough to join the fray. And so it's Kenny and Colby on one team, me on the other. And we're two different teams, and we're very competitive against team against team. And I explained this to Kenny. But in our house, we've got these new really cool games. We've got Rubik's Cubes now. And we got these big giant plastic balls. I wish I had one to show you. They're upstairs. Called the Perplexus. They're wicked cool. Big plastic ball. You gotta do this and get this little metal ball to go through 100 different steps. But what we weren't expecting is that my 6-year-old Colby is just smoking them. Smoking his older sister and his older brother, 9 and 12-year-old, on getting through. And he was also the first to solve the Rubik's Cube. So maybe we have, a kid prodigy or something like that with this, this ability to solve things. That's awesome. But I noticed in his older sister and his older brother, they were very competitive. They wanted to be the first one to solve it. And when their baby brother solved it first, they weren't happy for him. They were selfish, and the heart wasn't right. And they weren't exactly kind. I stepped in, and then I pulled my son aside. We're in the truck today, and I taught him a lesson on leadership. I want to share this lesson with you. It's very quick. I said, Kenny, you have to understand, before you figure out, the competition is great. I am not a every kid gets a trophy dad. I am not that guy. You have to earn it. Compete to win. Compete to win the prize. I believe that. But I say, Kenny, but before you compete, figure out where the teams are and who the teams are. So in the area of wiffle ball, I'm one team, my two sons are another team. That's two clearly defined teams. We compete against each other. And I said, there's also academic teams. Like there might be puzzle, like there's a science Olympiad or some other kind of academic team where you and 2 or 4 other guys are on a team against another team. Compete. But I said, you and your brothers and sister, you're on the same team, the Carfagno team. And so when you compete against each other, when people on the same team compete against each other, it only leads to chaos. And the book I read says a kingdom divided against itself will fail. And so if you're competing against your team members, your team's going to go down. And I said, if your brothers and sisters are on the same team, Colby's on the same team as you, he solved it, a leader wouldn't put them down and discourage them. You would lift them up and encourage them and help them to be better. If he solved it first, have him help you, have him teach you. You could solve it. Maybe you'll learn something from him. When teams work together, the whole team wins. But when individual members on the team, they get out of unity and they fight against each other, they compete against each other, it's not healthy. So I taught him the difference between healthy competition when it's 2 different teams, but when you're on the same team, don't compete against each other. Be uplifting, encouraging, have each other's back, and look for the skills and look for the abilities and the strengths and the talents of each team member and look to draw them out. So it was a great lesson. I hope that I hope that resonated somewhere out there in Dynamics land. If there's anyone that's dealing with this with their kids, teach them that in life there are teams, right? In this opportunity, in this scenario, not opportunity, in this scenario, you and your siblings are not on different teams. You're on the same team. So stop competing. So, all right. Enjoy this one.